Hi, this is Matt from Audio Plugin Deals. Today we're looking at the just released Rendition plugin from Nightfox Audio. Let's have a look at it. So what is Rendition then? Well, despite looking like an instrument, it's not an instrument. Essentially think of it as a kind of MIDI assistant, a little MIDI helper if you will. So the way it works is you send MIDI from Rendition to any plugin that you want. And then with the press of a single key, I'm pressing D sharp here, then you have, in this case, a chord being played to scale based up on the left here. Similarly, we can choose an ARP. Once again, we can press a single key. And just to reiterate once again, there is no sound coming from Rendition per se. This is simply sending MIDI to a piano plugin. So let's go through left to right. I'm going to jump around a tiny bit, but I'll try and keep it logical. I'm going to start with the zone section here. So if we change this to 4, then we have, down the bottom here, you can see we have 4 sections as designated by these little sliders here. And then each one of these zones, you can have the functions that I mentioned earlier. So zone 1, we can set that to chord, and then zone 2, let's set that to ARP, and then zone 3, let's put that also to chord, and then zone 4, we can put that on mod, which means modifier. We can also extend this region should we wish, or reduce it with these little sliders here. So by starting with that should give an idea of the fundamental structure of this plugin. So now with that said, let's go back and look at the functions in detail. So we have our scale up here. We can adjust this by this little white dial here. So let's put this on D sharp. We can choose our scale here, and as you can see there is quite a selection. And below that we have key restrict, and key restrict essentially locks down the keys that aren't in the scale. So if we look down the bottom, we can see that some of these keys are grayed out, and that's because these keys are not in the D sharp major pentatonic scale. Below that we have these zones, which I mentioned right at the start, and then below that we have a display basically indicating what is being pressed or what is being played. Quite straightforward. In the middle we have the main setup page, so we have zones 1 through to 4 here, and then here is where you edit obviously what you've chosen below. So zone 1 here, we are now editing the chord settings for zone 1. I'll come back to this central window in a moment because I want to spend a bit of time on it given it's the main section. To the right of that we have the chord voicings. So these apply globally to the preset. So you can save them per preset essentially. So let's go with ARP on zone 2. We can choose to spread that voicing out. We can spread it up. We can spread it down. We can invert. Then we have octave up, octave down. We can rotate the voicings. We also have settings such as power chord, down octave, up octave. We have deep 1 semitone, so you can see here that we've dropped 1 octave. Deep 3rd, and deep 5th. To the left of that we have a big stop button, so that really comes into effect if we go to the ARP mode, and then we choose something like latch. And we press a button, I've let go of the key now, and that's just going to play indefinitely. We can just do stop to kill that quite quickly. And once again, stop. We have the options up here, the settings, to choose the window size. We can also drag it in or out. Then we have different themes. I quite like this. I guess you'd call it a teal color. Then we can change the LCD if we like. Now one comment on this is I find this really incredibly blurry, this display here. So hopefully that can be something that can be fixed in a future update. The rest of the interface is actually quite clear. It's just this LCD section in the middle that I find really blurry. So let's go to zone 1 and we'll go through this main section in detail. If we press just a single key on F, we are now playing an F minor chord. We can adjust the strum. So you can hear that they all hit at different times. Turn it right up and I'll do it once again. Let's go all the way up just because. Let's turn it down to something more realistic. Let's just a touch, like so. We also have other humanizing functions such as time, and then velocity as well, so they all hit at different velocities. Once again, let's turn that down to something reasonable. Let's go around there. If we click on the keys down the bottom here, we can then customize the chord should we wish. So here, as you can see represented in this window and also on the keys, these are the notes we're playing. Let's add another one here. And now let's press this and you'll see, sure enough, an A appears down here. Moving on to zone 2, this one is set up as an ARP. We have quite a few selections as you can see here. I'm not going to read them all out, but you have the conventional ones such as up, and down. Lots of random options there. Skip up, skip down, thumb up, thumb down, pinky up, pinky down. So really quite a lot of flexibility there. Let's go with the conventional up and down. 116 is fine. Let's leave swing off for now. I'll probably come back and adjust that. Let's put latch on and we'll go here. We can add some humanization to the time. And also to the velocity. Let's turn it down to something reasonable. So these two parameters here are a constant randomization, if that makes sense. Every time a note hits, it will be a different time and a different velocity. Or should we wish, we can have a fixed randomization on velocity or a fixed randomization on note length. So let's change the velocity. And then similarly for note length. Next up we have the modifier section. Let's keep this on up for number 2 and then we'll go up to zone 4 and we'll leave that as a modifier and then we'll change these zones to 3 also. So we have chord in zone 1, up in zone 2 and then mod in zone 3. I tend to find this is the best way to work. I think the reason for 4 zones, it just really gives the extra flexibility should you wish, but I'm finding that 3 works quite well. Now do note that the modifier section is limited to 12 notes, 1 octave essentially. So if you put zone 3 all the way where it is down here, you have these keys which are active, but then the ones above that are disabled. So rather than waste that real estate, drag this up so it's like so. So now you have the upper octave being the modifier section, the middle one, the main one being the up, and then we have chords down to the left. Now consider the modulation section as momentary modifiers. And by that I mean that they are only active when that key is held. So unlike the chord voicings, which are permanent, the modifiers, like I said, are only active when the key is pressed. So to demonstrate that, let's play a chord. And then we will choose, we're going to press this key on with the mouse. I'm going to choose strum and listen to how these individual keys hit when I hold down strum. Similarly, we can drop it down an octave, turn it up an octave, increase the spread, or should we wish, we can modify this one. So instead of being spread up, we can choose deep third. So now we can see that that's changed. Let's hold down the key that corresponds to that. Or deep fifth even. So it really is a very useful little plugin. Like I said right at the start, consider it your virtual MIDI assistant. Set up the zones exactly as you want, and then save it as a preset, and then you just keep on coming back to it and then having the MIDI spit out exactly the way that you like. It's currently on sale at Audio Plugin Deals to celebrate the launch, so go check it out. And thanks for watching, and I'll be back shortly with something else. We'll see you then. Bye.